Speed and strength are popular in the animal kingdom. If danger comes my way, I'll just outrun it or fight it off. But some creatures go another route. Head-to-tail armor. It's a road less traveled among mammals, but some have thick hides or bony plates. However, only one mammal has taken a page out of the playbooks of reptiles and ancient Roman soldiers. But sometimes the most successful creatures are ones that borrow their style from others in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information, and I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
And today we're talking about an amazing armored animal, but more on that later.
Yes, much more.
Mostly more on that.
I hope so. But yeah, we're talking about the pangolin. Penguin. No, it's Batman's greatest and richest villain. No, we're not talking about penguins at all, or British old guys in tuxedos with odd speech impediments. We're talking about the pangolin, and not just any pangolin, the Chinese pangolin, also known as, in the scientific community, the scaly anteater. Okay. Probably my favorite is Kung Fu Pangolin.
Okay.
Which was a public service announcement made by Jackie Chan in 2017 against the poaching of these animals. And Brian sent in his little nickname with the episode art, which you can see if you go to ldtaxonomy.com or visit us on Twitter or Facebook at ldtaxonomy. He called it the terracotta culotta.
Why? Okay. I can see why it's terracotta, but I don't understand why culotta.
Because he's chill.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about this animal's nature, but it's definitely chill nature. And that's all I got. Those are the nicknames. I thought they were really good, so I didn't want to mar them with one of my own.
Oh wow, okay.
So let's taxonomize this, because it's an interesting taxonomy. It's not if after looking at this thing you might think you may be able to taxonomize it, but scientists have thought differently. So let's start with what we know, love, and are in, which is the one and only kingdom Animalia. Then we move on to the phylum, which is Chordata, as usual, not always, but as usual. And since we're doing a Joey animal, the class is Mammalia.
Of course.
The mammal man, in more ways than one. So then we have three clades here. I'm never sure exactly where clades fall, because sometimes they fall after the class, but sometimes they fall after the order. But let's talk about the three clades that fall between the class and the order. So the first clade is Ferungulata, which sounds like feral ungulates.
Yeah.
But it is ungulates because it's all placental mammals, all mammals that give birth or gestate using a placenta. So I guess you
like it, you love it, you gotta have that as well.
Yeah, we fall into this category so far. We're very, very closely related to the pangolin. The second clade is Ferae, which is pangolins and carnivores, like things in the order Carnivora. So it's really like this is where these guys diverge, is the second clade after Mammalia.
They diverge into a little Ferae eating meat. It's like a foray.
Yeah, it's a foray into the jungle to eat meat of just insects, pretty much.
Yeah, good bug meat.
Yeah, like Simba. The third clade is, here's a doozy, Pholidodomorpha. Pholidodomorpha, which is things that look like anteaters and sloths.
It's form of fully.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not like Slothiforma or something like that. It's just funny how like they taxonomize things based on like things they kind of look like, even though they're not related. But okay, so the order is Folidota, which is just the first 3 syllables of the word I said before for the clade. And that's just pangolins. They make up the whole order, and there's only one extant family, and that's Manidae. And then there's, I think, 3 genuses, and so the one we're going with is Manus, and then the species is Pentadactyla.
Yeah. There are 8 species
in Manus
of pangolins. Yeah. Yep.
8 extant ones. Some have been removed from the planet. So the binomial nomenclature is Manus pentadactyla, Pentadactyla. Just looking at it, this definitely seems to mean 5 fingers. So the word pangolin, I have a feeling that I sound like I'm saying penguin. So I'll try to enunciate, but the name pangolin translates to a Malay word, pangolin, which means something that rolls up.
Did you say a Malay word?
Yeah, or a Malay word, or whatever you want to say.
Why is
like
it
from Malaysia?
Oh, I was thinking like, why? What does this have to do with Super Smash Brothers?
It's a word you could just bash people over the head with. It's a Malay word.
Yeah, so I was like, what?
I don't know if it's Malay or Malay, how you pronounce like the demonym there. But yeah, so it means something that rolls up. It's very it's kind of like orangutan. It just means like forest person. They're very on the nose in Southeast Asia. But since we're in the process of naming things, it's time for a beloved part of the show called the one and only critter groups. And during this little segment, I ask Joe a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of these animals, or what is the collective noun? What is the term of venery? Because sometimes they're odd and out there, but sometimes they're not. So we'll see how this one turns out. Actually, the reality is that these are not only super endangered, but they're also solitary animals. So they don't.
I'm sure it'll be something stupid like colony or.
You're so mad about colony.
I just don't like that there's like misleading names for animals that don't live in groups.
This one's I'm not gonna say anything, but the internet gave them one. So I saw several articles, not official ones, talking about the collective noun for these guys.
So there isn't really the scientists haven't dubbed one. I don't know. Where do these names come from? Do they come from science or they come from media?
They come from deep thought. So they go to deep thought, and they say, "Oh, deep thought, what is the answer to life in the universe? And also, what do you call a group of pangolins?" And then deep thought, after 100 years, says, "Answer your first question is 42, and the answer to your second question is." I'll pose in a multiple choice option. So the A, is it a herd of pangolins? B, is it a phalanx of pangolins? C, is it a granary of pangolins? Or is it D, a predicament of pangolins?
Well,
deep thought has spoken.
They're in a huge predicament just as a species.
That's true.
There's also something to be said that the internet might think it's funny to call them a phalanx. I'm going to go with phalanx. They wear armor. They're armored babes. So I'm going with phalanx.
Final answer?
Yes.
Incorrect. I mean, as incorrect as you can be, if the answer is predicament.
Yeah, I was torn between those two. They're very... Phalanx makes more sense. And then predicament is stupid. So...
No,
I should have went with the stupid one. Because the internet.
No, predicament makes sense because they're definitely in a predicament, and phalanx makes less sense because they never get together to defend one another using.
Well, that's
their
true,
own
but
armor.
they do wear armor. So.
Yeah, but phalanx is a formation of armored things that in order to protect the others. So yeah, anyway, that's the answer. that the internet has given its predicament of pangolins. Also, in case I lost everybody on the deep thought thing, that was a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about where this the pangolin lives. I mentioned Southeast Asia, and I was correct. It lives in India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Taiwan, Indochina, which I found out is that like huge peninsula of Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and Thailand, like that Southeast Asian peninsula. I didn't know that was called Indochina. And so they like all those places, and specifically they live in dense forests and grasslands, which seem like two completely opposite places to live. But so now let's go into the looks. What gives it all these nicknames? Why is it the terracotta culata? Why is it the scaly anteater? Well, they look like giant armadillos mixed with pine cones.
Yes, that's
Like
very true.
You stuffed an armadillo in a pine cone. They really do. Like if there was an ancient armadillo statue made out of terracotta, that's exactly what this thing would look like. They have long, weasel-like bodies, triangular faces, and snouts like rats and armadillos. And like all mammals, they have 4 limbs, but these are relatively short. And at the end, there are sharp claws for digging and removing bark. And their claws are actually pretty reminiscent of like a sloth's.
It's a straight up sand slash.
If
An armadillo is a sand shrew, and then it evolves into a pangolin, which is a sand slash.
When you look at sand slash, you have to say they definitely modeled this after a pangolin.
I'm sure they did. Without knowing for sure, I'm sure.
It's and I didn't realize that until researching this animal. In fact, I'd seen pictures of this animal, but I was like, oh look, a different species of armadillo. But they're actually not, as we mentioned in the taxonomy, they're not really related to armadillos at all, or sloths, or anteaters. They are much more related to true carnivores. Despite being completely insectivorous. We'll say that. But yeah, it's crazy how much these guys look like sandslash. They also have a long tail and in some species is prehensile. I don't know if it's prehensile in the Chinese pangolin, because I don't think they spend a lot of time in the trees. But some of the bigger ones live in the trees, and their tails are like monkeys. They're prehensile. They can grasp things. They can wrap around tree branches and things like that. But so the Chinese pangolin also has little conspicuous round people ears, and they're hilarious. If you look at them, it's like, oh my gosh, it really does have little people ears. They're C-shaped, and they stick straight out of the side of their head, and they're pink.
Wait, I have to see this. Oh, I guess.
I mean, they're not huge round ones like a mouse.
Yeah, they do have people ears. This looks like a child drew it and was like, this is what ears look like.
Or it looks like it was partway through, transforming from a human into a pangolin and forgot about the ears. But that's just me. Look up pictures of Chinese pangolins when you are not driving, and let us know on social media if you think that the ears make them cuter or hideous. But I did say that they were like big armadillos. But are they bigger than armadillos? Would you happen to know that off the top of your head?
I do. Actually, just like off the cuff, I do know that because of a little segment called Measure Up. Welcome to the beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send an audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words Measure Up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new Measure Up intro this week. That means we get to hear from an animal. And Carlos has to guess what it is.
Pangolin. I guess it's the pangolin.
100%. Final answer? sound now. Here we go. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
I'm going to say...
Wait a minute. You have multiple choice.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Is it A, a bear, B, a bison, C, a walrus, or D, a bull moose?
Oh, man, these are all good options.
Yeah, this time I was like, this is not going to be a shopping cart one.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, you oh, yeah, I forgot. You actually said shopping cart wheel. I thought that was some sort of metaphor. Okay, so at first I was thinking it was like a boar or something like that. But man, these are all good. Could definitely be a bear, but I don't know. Bears tend to sound differently, I guess. So I'm split between bison and bull moose. But I hear the bull moose they throw great parties.
Yeah.
Bison, American bison.
Final answer?
Yes.
Incorrect. Correct answer is walrus.
What?
Yeah, it's a walrus.
That was the last one I was gonna pick.
Yeah, that's I put like 3 more viable options ahead of it.
That is a weird. I mean, I guess it's not a weird sound. You chose 4 gigantic mammals.
Yep.
that are known for growling.
Okay, let's talk about length. The pangolin is 40 to 58 meters or centimeters, not
what?
Meters. That's not a huge animal. 48 to 58 centimeters without the tail, and the tail itself is 25 to 38 centimeters, which is 9.8 to 15 inches. Let's call it, without the tail, 46 centimeters or 18.1 inches. Pangolins like to hang out in bamboo forests. How many pangolins go into the height of the dragon bamboo, the tallest species of bamboo in the world?
That would be the tallest species.
It's called the dragon bamboo or the giant bamboo. Here's a hint. The dragon bamboo can have a diameter of up to 30 centimeters, and it's raised for its use in construction. Young shoots can also be eaten as a veggie.
Like most bamboo.
Mm-hmm. Some tricky bamboo is eaten as meat, so it's weird.
It's tricky and smart, so it's considered meat.
And that's part of my new segment called Untrue Facts.
Bamboo gets pretty tall. I'm going to say 40 feet for the tallest bamboo. And 18 inches for the pangolin, which is a foot and a half. Okay, I'm going to say 26.
Final answer?
Yes.
Incorrect.
Not even close?
It's 76 pangolins.
Oh my goodness. How tall does this get?
The dragon bamboo can grow to 35 meters or 114.8 feet.
I can't even imagine a bamboo stalk getting to 100 feet or even taller than that.
I sure can because I saw a picture. Let's talk about weight.
You're standing next to it. It's got to be crazy because it's just such a thin tree.
Well, it's 30 centimeters in diameter.
That I don't know. I speak English. I don't know what that is.
Well, 46 centimeters is the length of the pangolin, and that's 18.1 inches.
Yeah, but when you say centimeters, I tune out, and when you say inches, I tune right back in.
Well, it's like close to a foot. I don't know. I don't speak it either. Let's talk about weight. It's 2 to 7 kilograms or 4.4 to 15.4 pounds. Let's call it 4 kilos or 8.8 pounds.
Okay.
Eddie Hall has the record for the heaviest deadlift. How many pangolins could Eddie lift? That sounds like a math problem. It is a math problem.
It is a math problem. Like all of these are math problems. Emphasis on the problem.
Here's a hint. Eddie used equipment like a deadlift suit and straps. There's a separate record for lifts without any equipment. The record for women is held by Becca Swanson at 305 kilograms or 672 pounds.
I imagine that a deadlift suit would be Armani.
It sure might be in certain situations, but a deadlift suit is a suit made of stiff material. And what I read was that it, like, when you're going down, it tightens to give you more support and like more lift when you come back up. I don't understand how it works, but it works.
Well, with help, the strongest bench presser ever got pretty close to, like, I think got like 900 pounds. So I imagine that a deadlift, like, with help, that a deadlift would be more than that, because you're using pretty much your entire body. I'm gonna say 1,300 pounds. It sounds like a lot, but I don't know. Some of these guys are crazy. So I'm gonna say 86 pangolins. Final answer.
Final answer. That is incorrect. It's 125 pangolins.
What?
Eddie deadlifted 500 kilograms or 1,102 pounds.
Oh, wait. Oh,
the math was weird?
No, I put down 15 pounds as the weight because that was the max. But you did the average.
Yeah, 8.8 pounds.
And I just went by what I had.
So you would have been very close.
Probably would have.
With 8.8 pounds.
I gotta not do this because sometimes I forget what you say, and then it's nice to have it written down, but I never know if you're going to do the max or the average. So
you gotta switch it up. Well, you do know because I tell you.
Yeah, I just gotta write it down like as you say it.
But yeah, 1,100 pounds, a little bit more than Batman can supposedly bench press as a normal human being. Batman, that's stupid.
That's
Batman
surprisingly
has superpowers. Changed my mind.
I thought that was because no, he's got he has bench pressing spray on his belt. He just sprays it all over his chest, and he can bench press whatever he wants.
Gotcha.
He can bench press Darkseid. But yeah, I thought that the strongest bench press was like
it's close to
900
1,000
pounds or something like that. Yeah, so it's like
I was
the
surprised
strongest
too.
deadlift is only 200 pounds more
with equipment. Well, the strongest deadlift or the strongest bench without a bench shirt is way smaller, way less than that.
Yeah.
So the bench shirt might be more efficient than the lifting suit. You know, it might help more.
True. All right, let's get back to talking about the pinecone mouse.
See, you did come in with your own nickname. It came in.
Okay.
We were all waiting.
Cut it, add it to the top. So let's talk about what he eats. As we mentioned before, he eats mostly insects, and that's about it. Pretty much termites and ants. It really is like an anteater.
Form of an anteater.
So what they'll do is they use their sloth claws to dig into ant nests, termite mounds, and sides of trees and things like that to just lap up ants, and they can close their ears and eyes and nostrils so that the ants swarming them can't get inside their bodies, except for through the mouth. So speaking of their tongues, their tongues are more than 16 inches long, which is sometimes longer than their bodies without the tail. So the tongue usually starts curled up in the chest cavity because it's so long. Like that. Can you imagine your tongue starting in your chest because it's half your body length or something like that? So it extends out and it's sticky, so it just a bunch of ants get stuck to it, and then it just brings it back in. And it doesn't have teeth, So the pangolin will swallow pebbles to help mash up their food for digestion, kind of like
I do that
what a
too.
crocodile does. Do you really? You're like,
Yeah, Fruity Pebbles.
I gotta wash down this lasagna with some Fruity Pebbles so I can mash it.
Digest better. It's the perfect dessert.
It's the perfect thing to follow up lasagna too. I just chose the most natural
I actually like the
combination of
chocolate
foods.
ones more. What are they called?
Cocoa Pebbles.
Cocoa Pebble. For some reason, I was just thinking chocolate rocks, and I know that's wrong.
I think that was definitely on the table for branding purposes.
Choco rocks.
They were like, no, we don't want to have just rocks in our cereal. So, but people like pebbles. That's definitely more delicious sounding.
I don't know if I'm gonna clip this out to be the like little clip video that I make. The pebbles or the pinecone mouse.
Pica mouse?
Pinecone mouse.
Pinecone mouse.
It's a pica pinecone. It's a pinecone pica.
Pika. So the pangolin will eat up to 70 million insects in a year.
Oh gosh, I thought you were gonna say in like a day, and I was like, that's impossible.
Yeah, it is impossible. But they are ants, so it's not like they even count.
That's true.
They don't those calories don't count. It's just one ant. But if all the ants stand up to us, then there goes our way of life. Quote unquote. Kevin Spacey as Hopper. So
what?
The pangolin is also slow, docile, and solitary, as we mentioned before, which makes them the perfect target for poachers. That's why Jackie Chan was like, hey, Kung Fu Pangolin. That was actually his whole public service announcement. He just said those 3 words and walked off stage. It was really weird.
Hey, guys.
Kung Fu Pangolin. Remember that movie I had 2 lines in? Yeah. But that's all I got.
Okay. The majorest of facts in this episode. Here we go. So this is the story about how this animal's amazing ability has led to the deaths of more than 600 people and counting. Pangolins are the world's only scaled mammal. Like there are other armored mammals like rhinos and armadillos that have like tough, thick skin, but pangolins' overlapping keratin scales allow for more flexibility with its armor. So it's a very unique animal in that regard. When they're attacked by a predator, they curl into a ball that's difficult for many foes to get through. I saw like it thwarting leopards, and even lions were kind of confused. I feel like if they applied themselves, they could do something about it, but I feel like it's a very strange issue for them to face. When they're attacked by a predator, they curl up, but they can also sometimes like run and climb trees, but it's very, very rare for them to have that response to predation. But their flexibility allows them to climb trees, which I don't think an armadillo can, or if they can, it's very difficult. But they wrap their armored tails around branches, like you said. So if you had a stiff armor thing, you probably wouldn't be able to have a prehensile tail. Unfortunately, this amazing ability also puts them in danger from a different predator. Even though they're protected as critically endangered animals, they're trafficked for consumption, and because of their unique scales. In China, people could face up to 10 years in prison for selling pangolin tails, or for selling pangolins in general. Despite this, the animal is sold for its use in traditional Chinese medicine.
Especially the Chinese pangolin. The U.S. black market for pangolins went from I think I read $10 per kilogram in the 90s to $175 per kilogram in 2009. So that makes, if like you have a bigger Chinese pangolin that's like 15 pounds, that's over $1,200 that somebody could get for selling it by the pound. And the reason why they're sold is because traditional Chinese medicine claims that keratin on other animals has special healing properties, which is the problem for like rhinos and tigers, because they're like, oh, these are strong, powerful animals, and if we eat their nails, we'll gain their power. And I know it sounds like I'm making fun of them, but like that's actually what they believe. They believe that by eating the tiger claws, they gain power. By eating things sprinkled with rhino horn keratin, they gain power. And they believe that this that pangolin keratin is it will like can cure cancer, lower blood pressure, increase milk in breastfeeding mothers. All kinds of things. They're like the essential oils of traditional Chinese medicine, but they definitely don't work and require the murder of animals. But they're often sold in restaurants in Southeast Asia. So people just want to eat them up. That's why there are not very many. In 2011 alone, 60,000 of them were taken from the wild. So,
in addition to what you just said, they're also believed to remedy certain skin conditions, arthritis, and menstrual problems. However, the widespread trafficking of pangolins may have contributed to the spreading of a disease to more than 30,000 people. Last I saw, it was 31,000. So recent research has found that the pangolins may be the link that spread the coronavirus to human beings. The coronavirus is, if you have not been watching the news at all, the coronavirus is a type of virus that is common in mammals and birds. It's able to quickly mutate, and that makes it resistant to treatment and stuff like vaccines. Only a few types of coronavirus are able to infect people, but when they do, they can do a lot of damage. So a recent example of a coronavirus infecting humans was SARS, which was pretty infamous when it was happening. The coronavirus, I think SARS was actually spread through bats or birds and bats to civets, which is a type of cat that is also trafficked and eaten in these illegal markets. The coronavirus is called this one is called the 2019 novel coronavirus, or 2019 nCoV.
Wow, they got to come up with a name like SARS for that.
Well, SARS is an acronym for something respiratory, something respiratory. But the 2019 novel coronavirus, it has infected 30,000 people and killed 600 so far. It's believed to have originated in bats, but viruses that start in bats, or this particular one at least, has trouble infecting humans. It doesn't have the correct mechanisms to bind to human cells or something like that. Long story short, the bat version of the virus can't infect humans as far as we know. However, they can if there's a viable middleman. So that means the bat might infect something else that the virus is able to mutate in and then infect people. So Chinese researchers believe the pangolins might be that middleman, or middle pinecone mouse.
How does the bat infect a pangolin?
We don't know for sure how it spread. It could just be proximity and like breathing, and but there's also the fact that they might all be together in these markets.
Poaching is bad for everyone.
Uh-huh. The genome sequences of the virus in pangolins are a 99% match to the ones found in people. However, the study has not been fully published to be scrutinized because the animals were in contact with humans, and the animals that were in contact with humans were in this illegal market that's now completely shut down. Conclusive tests on those animals might be impossible now because they're all cleared out. So it would be difficult to find the animals that might have the disease.
Because they released them?
I don't know what they did with them. Apparently no one does. It would just be difficult for scientists to get in and test those animals because they were a part of an illegal operation that people aren't willing to maybe step up and be like, here's the pangolin I was trafficking.
True.
There's still a lot of research to be done, but identifying a conclusive middleman could help avoid future outbreaks by cracking down on illegal trafficking, which is something they did with the civet to control SARS. So when they identified the civet, they cracked down on its being bought and sold. I think it was already illegal, just like the pangolin is already illegal to sell, but it's not, they just pay more attention to it. Trafficking animals is bad. Poaching is bad.
It just seems like one of those things where like you can. The real root of the problem is ignorance. Is that because these poachers are taking advantage of the ignorance and the opportunity. So, you have a bunch of superstitious people that believe that, keratin, or you convince a bunch of superstitious people that keratin is, of the pangolin has healing properties. I wonder if it's a chicken and an egg thing whether the poachers were like, hey, these guys are really easy to just pick up after they roll into a ball and they're totally docile. Let's see if we can convince people that they are valuable. Usually poached animals are dangerous, like lions and elephants and rhinos and stuff like that. But I imagine as a poacher, you'd be like, yeah, I'll poach pangolins because all I have to do is walk up to them and pick them up, put them in a bag. So I'm wondering if they caused it, but yeah, we just need to educate people, tell them hey, listen, there are actual medicines for the things that you're suffering from. Don't eat fingernails. It's not going to help.
Yeah. Instead, maybe, a topical cream
of something other than fingernails.
Yeah. I can also imagine that these are very striking and strange animals. So I can imagine people just being tantalized by the fact that it's so unique and assuming that it must have special properties.
Yeah, but there's also the fiery, the shocking pink dragon millipede that lives in the same area. That's unique, and if it's full of cyanide,
I feel like that's probably there you go.
But if I guess you could eat it, and if you survive, you
get the power of a small millipede.
Right.
Yeah. So the funny thing about the coronavirus, which is very not funny, is that it's a situation of you played yourself, people. This is a virus that came because we were messing around with animals we shouldn't be messing around with. That's all I got. There is some debate as to whether the pangolin is the conclusive middleman. So, the only time will tell. But that's all I got.
It's like swine flu. We knew that it was pigs. But yeah, that was the Chinese penguin. So for you out there in Podcastia, put on the full armor of pangolin to protect yourselves from the fiery arrows of misguided and superstitious food mystics here in life, death, and taxonomy.
Oh my gosh.
Death and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Monty Python in Space, aka Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So long and thanks for all the fish.